and harmony, governed by one eternal law. All that begins must end. The reign of the old shogunate is over.
A year after trampling the fields of Europe as Napoleon Bonaparte, Total War fanatics will return to the land of the rising sun in the highly anticipated game Total War Shogun 2. Players will play in a fractiously divided Japan, vying for land and power to become the next shogun. Leaving the age of the gunpowder behind, the developers at Creative Assembly decided to return to the basics that had made the series so successful without sacrificing difficulty or pure entertainment. Shogun 2 is a fusion of real-time strategy and turn-based strategy. Players assume the roles of a clan leader and a general, alternating between the campaign management, where the player manages and develops his land and armies each turn, and the battles, where the player takes direct control of the army in real time on a 3D battlefield. In addition to having the main campaign mode and tutorial, players will also be able to play through several historical battles of the time period, as well as custom battles. In campaign mode, players will be able to pick from 9 clans, plus one special clan included in the Limited and the Collector's Edition, each with its own special units, strengths, and difficulty levels. Players will also be able to choose between short, long, and domination modes, depending on how long you want your games to last. In the campaign map, the player oversees the development of settlements, military production, economic growth, and technological advancement. Unlike the last couple of Total War games, where the economic buildings were managed outside of the main cities in individual villages throughout the provinces, Shogun 2 has all the economic structures upgraded within the main city to help make managing the provinces easier without having to find each location of every village on the map. However, the game still shows these economic and other miscellaneous buildings dotting the landscape of the highly detailed campaign map, retaining its trademark aesthetic appeal. Players are able to engage in diplomacy, political maneuvering, and use special agents to gain the upper hand. There are ninjas, geishas, monks, and metsuke who can bribe cities and generals to join your clan. Monks can give a moral boost to armies in the area, convert enemy generals to the cause, as well as incite rebellion in the enemy lands. The game also adds a nice CGI element to show these agents performing their various schemes. To really add a more RPG style of gameplay, Shogun 2 gives leaders, generals, and individual units their own personalities. Generals and agents are portrayed as unique heroes with unique characteristics and powerful abilities. Players are able to improve and unlock traits and special abilities for the characters as they gain experience. Players will also need to keep their generals and their family members loyal by assigning them to various positions in the faction government. You can also exchange them as hostages, or arrange marriages with other clans to solidify alliances, allowing players to use family members more interactively. The battles of Shogun 2 involve large-scale clashes between armies that meet on a 3D battlefield based on the terrain where they collide on the campaign map. On the battlefield, players will notice that the opening speeches have returned, as well as the ability to wait for a change in the weather before sending out troops. Sieges are different in this game, as there are multiple objective points spread around the battlefield that give unique boosts during the battle. In contrast to European castles and forts, the castles in feudal Japan had multiple tiers, and thus the siege battles in the game will put less focus on wall defenses, but more on battles within the castle courtyard and effectively coordinating simultaneous assaults. If you are able to take the main castle, called the Tenshu, a 2-minute countdown will commence, and once it ends, you will win. Players will be able to fight naval battles again with unique Japanese ships resembling floating castles, which are mainly oar-powered rather than wind. There are some cannons, but a lot of the sea battles rely on boarding enemy vessels and shooting fire arrows. Sea battle maps also introduce new terrain features such as coastal islands and shallow water, which could provide advantages for smaller boats. Shogun 2 received a welcome overhaul in the multiplayer element. It features battles with up to 8 players as well as multiplayer campaigns, involving competitive or cooperative modes with 2 players. In a multiplayer campaign, players can be grouped into different clans so that for each clan, one player assumes the role of clan leader and the others take command of the armies. The clan leader has the ability to direct other players and assign rewards based on loyalty and performance, introducing clan politics into multiplayer. If there was one word to describe Shogun 2, it would be Zen. Everything from the characters and the units to the stunning environments of the campaign and the battle maps, and the Japanese traditional background music reflects the fine-tuning and hard work that Creative Assembly did to make this one of the best Total War experiences. If you have a good video card, you will immediately notice the smooth textures and fluidity of the movement of the trees blowing in the wind and the mist drifting around on the battlefield. Although this is not a time period that many people know about, who wouldn't like samurai, ninjas, and classic hand-to-hand sword fights? Shogun 2 is a finely tuned game filled with exhilarating real-time battles against a capable artificial intelligence or others online. With a revamped multiplayer and fantastic visuals and sound, Shogun 2 is a high point for the Total War series.